Don't waste for something to force it to happen. Just do the thing that you've been avoiding, the thing that's weighing you down, the thing that's bugging you. If your house is full of stuff that needs to be sold, donated, or dumped, this is your sign. Start one room at a time. Don't do more than one room at a time. What is something you've been putting off that would create space in your mental load or in your energetic body? What would feel good if it was a clean slate, a refresh? It could be in your life, your work, your business, your relationship. Just pick one thing and do it. Because what I've learned is we don't need a move, a crisis, or a plot twist to give ourselves permission to upgrade to the life you already have. And if you've been holding contradictory emotions right now, like we have, like relief and grief, excitement and loss, you're not confused. Let me tell you, you are human, and just let all the feelings be felt. Welcome to Limitless, the podcast for cycle breakers, change makers, and conscious leaders who are done performing, proving, and pleasing, and are ready to live, lead, and create from deep alignment. I'm your host, Fiona Walsh. Every 2 weeks, I hold space for real soul-expanding conversations with guests who are still in it. They're navigating their biggest fears, shedding old identities, letting go of patterns that no longer serve them, and rising into their limitless potential. Together, we share what it's really like to be human, messy, raw, imperfect, and learning to own every part of ourselves, even the ones we've tried to keep neatly tucked away. We go deep into the work of coming home to yourself, getting out of your head, feeling safe in your body, letting go of old stories, and creating a life that's true to who you really are. Subscribing to Limitless is the best way to make sure you never miss an episode. So hit pause and tap follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Because this isn't about doing more. It's actually about remembering who you are. And that's what makes you limitless. Welcome to Limitless. Today, I'm back for another solo episode. Now, if you listened to my last episode, you know I left you guys sort of mid-story where I was totally in it in life, in over my head, overwhelmed. I was crazily prepping our townhouse to sell. And my other half, Jules, had started this new role which is based in Alberta, which is another province in Canada to where we live. Our kids were deep in processing the fact that we were relocating in the summer. And I was deep in my survival spiral around the urgency to move, get everything ready, and my controller starting to take over and run the show. Now, I told you I didn't have a neat bow tie for this story, and I still don't. But the story took quite the turn, the plot twist that none of us saw coming. So the headline, we are no longer moving. And you might be like, what? Wait, hang on. Yes, same. This episode is about what happens when you expand or embrace something fully, a new opportunity, and you do all the inner work, you say yes, you take the leap, and then the ground shifts again. And this episode really dives into why expansion is not linear. And this plot twist has really taught me so many lessons that I couldn't have learned any other way other than experiencing them through this wild and crazy ride that we've been on since like March. So what has been happening? Well, as I said, we said yes to the move. We told the kids. We even visited Canmore, which we genuinely loved. We were all in, like we were all really excited for it. It is the most beautiful little town. It's at the base of the Rockies. It had all the nature, all the outdoor stuff that we love, great schools, beautiful small community. It was the change of pace and lifestyle that we had on our 10-year vision and manifested without really meaning to. But, you know, it was a really good option. And I was really, really stressed in the last episode, prepping our house in North Vancouver to sell. And then there was a sudden change of leadership at Jules's new company. And it came out of nowhere, as these things do. Now, I was head down getting the house ready to list and sell. And just like that, the role shifted and the opportunity where we thought we had to move for it changed fundamentally. Now, this wasn't like a slow unraveling. It was fast. It was one moment we were like packing and painting. And then the next it was like, oh crap, we might not be going. And it was quite like a whiplash. I was really unsteady initially because it went from like embracing life as we knew it was going to change. We were moving. We were happy to go to another part of the country to like instantly, oh my goodness, we could be staying. And here's the thing that was really interesting. When we were holding both options for a day or so, which was, do we still move or do we stay? I actually could see pros and cons in both options. There was expansion available to us and me in particular in both directions. And at that point in time, it wasn't like one was clearly right or one was clearly wrong. They both had, as I said, pros and cons on both sides of the fence. However, when I did hear about that the option to stay was now back on the table, something really telling happened. My nervous system grounded, like almost immediately. And it did completely once we were like, right, either way, we're not going to sell the house. So even when we were holding both options of stay or still move, we made the call straight away we wouldn't sell the house. And so once we took away this crazy deadline to sell, which had this humongous, ginormous to-do list, which really had been too much for my sister. And I spoke about the overwhelm and the breakdown that I had on Mother's Day in the last episode. So go back and listen if you didn't. But the speed at which my nervous system regulated, once I removed that deadline, really confirmed that that was what was driving my survival spiral and not all the other things. But I also want to rewind to something I didn't share in the last episode. After we visited Canmore, which we absolutely loved, as I said, it is, oh my God, such a great place. And I can't wait to go back there. When we got back to North Vancouver, something shifted in how I saw our life and our reality here. Because our home and our environment now had a deadline on it, I started to notice things that I hadn't been aware or eyes wide open to or heart wide open to. Driving home the hill towards our house and there's this beautiful snapshot of Indian Arm Fjord that I see nearly every single day. And I just started to notice it through new eyes. The huge cedar trees everywhere. I mean, spring here is spectacular. There's just flowers and this whole place becomes alive. And I had this realization, the fact that we live at this end of North Vancouver, which is where the end is because of water and then forest. We're in this little pocket called Deep Cove, this really unique community, and actually have this small town vibe where I live already, even though I'm 10 Ks drive to the middle of downtown Vancouver. So it was quite interesting having these realizations, seeing where I've lived for the last 8 years, reimagining it in real time. Oh, it was quite wild, the whole thing. Anyway, and I guess if I was really honest as well, I had this niggling feeling after that trip to Canmore that life and my work in particular here wasn't quite done yet. And I'd sort of told myself in that time, I'll just fly back for retreats. It's only an hour away by plane, and I can come back and host retreats or do my thing or speak on stages, see my clients in real time, and catch up with friends while I'm here as well. But the truth underneath that story was that something in me knew something wasn't finished here. And maybe the pressure I'd been feeling about wanting a slower pace and therefore needing a smaller town environment to do that, I began to think, well, maybe this is more self-generating than I had given myself time to process. Maybe it was about how I'd been showing up in the busyness, my role in creating the noise, the busyness, all the things, and whether or not it was time for me to be willing to be a little bit more responsible for that. Now, about a week after the leadership change, and once we knew the final decision had been made, we were staying. We told our kids on a Saturday morning, which is quite funny. I'll get to that in a second. But just after we told our kids, Jessica Serrato, who was on season 2 of Limitless, she's a numerologist and energetic strategist. She shared this oracle card spread on Instagram, and it was for the new moon in Taurus. And it was 6 positions. So you'd pull the first card, and that represented seed. The second card, soil, water, roots, bloom, and expansion. And I want to share with you what came up, because I always say with my clients, I pull a card or 2 for my clients before every single coaching session. And then I quite often don't think about it and then look at the end and I'm like, oh, the cards never lie. And I'll tell you what, the cards that I pulled for this new moon in Taurus that Jessica shared was quite literally the entire arc of this story that I've been sharing with you guys. So I used my favorite deck, this one, Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle deck. Okay, so the first card I pulled was Seed, and the card I pulled was Trust and Niggle. What is a niggling feeling trying to tell you? And I had just said just before, like I'd literally been saying, I have this niggling feeling that life and work isn't quite done here yet. That was the seed of this whole thing, a quiet knowing underneath all the excitement and all the expansion and all the adventure that was waiting for us in Canmore. The second one was Soil, and the card I pulled was Akasha, and it's your guidance is divinely guided. The soil is the foundation. So trusting that whatever unfolds is being held. Whether we moved or stayed, the guidance was there. I was being guided. Trust. The third card was Water, and the card I pulled was the third category was Water, and the card I pulled was Transformation. And the words on the cards are things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. Well, this is the nervous system work. This is also some of the work I've been doing has been intergenerational as well. So family lineage sort of patterns being passed on and broken. This unraveling of, I don't have enough time. There's never enough time. The capacity that I built, this work that I've been going through, this wild ride, it wasn't surface level. It was deep cellular level transformation. Now, the fourth one, which was the one that stood out the most to me and literally stopped me in my tracks, was Roots. So where are you putting down your roots? The foundation, the grounding. And this card was no, wait, postpone, pause, or say no. So the roots of this entire experience were telling me, not this, not now. And this was exactly what was happening in real time. The move was postponed. The universe said no at the same time that we had decided it was a no as well. And we told the kids as well. Okay, fifth was Bloom, and I pulled the ever unfolding rose, which is cracked open. It's happening for you and not to you. And this is the whole reframe of this episode, actually. This plot twist didn't happen to us. It's happening for us. It cracked us open. That's the expansion. And then the last card I pulled was was for the category expansion, and it was dance with life. So do something to change your energy. And that's exactly what we're doing now. We're still painting the house. We're decluttering. We're refreshing our life here. We're outsourcing stuff. We're setting new boundaries. Jules and I are having conversations that we weren't having 2 months ago. Our relationship has expanded from what we have been through. So I'm dancing with life rather than to control it and grip it. So whether you're into oracle cards or intuitive stuff or not, this spread was pretty cool how it also validated or mapped the entire journey that I have been on over the last couple of months. So what I said before about we told the kids on the Saturday morning before I did that carpool, and we got a pretty mixed response. One of our children was absolutely the happiest, over the moon. I'm so happy that we're staying. And the other two were sort of on the fence, a bit like Jules and I had been, which is like, oh, I was really genuinely excited to go, but it's so cool to stay here where we are. And then after we had that decision, oh my God, the undoing began. So I had to re-register kids in programs, in school, in activities that I had cancelled them from. We had to re-enroll in things, uncancel things. I'd like unsubscribed to Vancouver-based mailing lists. I'd pulled the plug on a lot of our life here. I also was faced with the reality that I hadn't registered our kids for some summer camps here, and I'm certainly paying the price for that now. That was one thing I would say, that the pressure was off moving to Canmore, in that getting kids into like activities after school and camps and stuff in North Vancouver is like a race against time. Once programs open, they can sell out in a couple of minutes. And when you've got 3 kids, good luck getting all 3 in a couple of minutes. And when we went to Canmore, the rec centre there was like, oh, you can just like call us a day before and they can come for a day or multiple days. We always have space in all of the different activities. And I was standing there like, oh my God. So I know most of you listening are in big cities, and you know the stress of 7 a.m. when the swimming lessons open. Like I literally have a nervous breakdown. Actually, I don't anymore. I did for many years. I did. I think this nervous system work. That's the test. Can I log on and get the kids into swimming lessons without having a meltdown? Anyway, so we paid the price for not having the kids in summer camps. That's all being sorted out now. But here's where it actually was like pretty cool. The house was like mostly decluttered. Like I had done the heavy lifting, sorting, chucking, all of that. The painters had already quoted and we were happy with the quote and the people coming to do it. The bathroom refresh was scoped, but we also were like, oh, if we're not doing a refresh to sell, maybe we could do the renovation that we'd planned to do later this year anyway. And it was really interesting because as this was unraveling and I was sharing with some of my friends, some of them shared with me that when they had sold their homes, they'd done the renovations and the painting and then sold it and really had this regret that they'd never had the chance to enjoy the work that they'd done, that they'd just done it to sell. And so I just felt like we had this redo on so many things. So we said yes to the painters. The painters are literally here right now. You'll probably hear some banging in the background today because I just wanted to record this while I was still in it. The bathroom reno has had some tweaks, but it's going to happen in the next few weeks as well. And we're doing it. We're doing this stuff that we'd put off for a long time. I really, really feel like we've been gifted a redo of our life here in Vancouver, like a makeover, so to speak. And in the time between us thinking that we were going to go, I had, when you see like an activity like, oh, we never got there, or like a restaurant, oh, damn, I really wanted to try that restaurant. All those things that I thought we weren't going to get around to do, they're now back up for grabs again. And it's my responsibility to make that happen. Now, some of the work on our house probably should have been done years ago, and we had been putting it off. And I think the lack of action around a lot of the stuff in our house was actually weighing me down more than I had realized. So the clutter and the crap around it was accumulating and just getting all the rooms were starting to feel smaller because there was just stuff everywhere. And the decluttering alone has done already so much for my nervous system way before the reversal on the plot twist actually happened. And with Jules traveling a lot more now for this work, because he's sort of going to be doing the job from Vancouver, but also traveling to where their other places are in Alberta, we are also sitting down and looking at what can we outsource, so that the weekends, if he's been away all week, our weekends, we can actually like hang out and do fun stuff rather than being consumed by like cleaning and house projects and all the things. So we're setting some new expectations and agreements and boundaries around that as well. And by July, this is like all the house stuff, the major stuff is going to be done. There's no insane deadlines. I'm out of my survival spiral. It's just steady improvement work at pace, and we're getting it done. So here's what's landed for me. And this is what I really want you guys to sit with. On Mother's Day, my plate was overflowing. I was completely overwhelmed. And that is why my nervous system engaged in the way it did. And that's when our survival patterns and mechanisms can kick back in hard and fast like mine did. But I'm also wondering now, is the expansion that we're going through actually happening not because of where we are, but because of who we're choosing to be? I have realized that I didn't need to move to another part of Canada for this expansion. The plan to move was a catalyst, but I'm already showing up differently, and so is Jules, based on what we've navigated over the past 2 months. So nothing has been wasted, and so much expansion and learning has occurred. And even though I hit my nervous system capacity hard, that actually gifted me this huge unraveling around my urgency that I create and my not enough time story and the scarcity around time that I talked about in detail last episode. And that story about not enough time has been with me since I was a little girl. And here's proof that this work is working. In the past 3 weeks, my kids have been home from school for days, one away, one home one day, 2 the next, 1 the next. It's great when you have 3 kids and they share viruses. And they've been sharing all these viruses. And instead of being a complete stress head and feeling like I'm being mum to sick kids and that's stealing time from my business, for the first time, I've actually been able to hold both side by side. I've been present and delivering in all elements of my business. Usually I just focus on client stuff and everything else falls away, but I haven't dropped the ball on any area of my business. And I've been present with my unwell kids. And on top of this, we've had painters in the house, which if anyone knows, it's like to have tradespeople in your house, it's like also quite distracting. All of this is happening at once. It's all playing out. And I haven't been trying to control or grip anything in my reality. I've just been like rolling with it. And this is the difference. This is the expansion in real time. In the last episode, I said the move was the vehicle and the expansion was the destination. And I still believe that, but I want to add something based on what's changed. Sometimes a vehicle can break down and you realize that you were already at the destination the whole time. You just couldn't see it until life forced you to look and forced you to choose to be a different way. So here's what I want to leave you guys with today. We had said that once we would buy a house in Canmore, we would paint straight away, refloor straight away. If we need to do a bathroom, kitchen, straight away. Do it all before we moved in. So we wouldn't have to wait 8 years like we did in this house to do all this work. And we've been saying out loud, we should do the painting and we should declutter. And we were planning to do the bathroom. I realistically don't think it would have been done in 2026 though, if not all of this hadn't have happened. And it took a cross-country move that didn't actually happen for us to do the things we could have done at any point in time. So don't waste for something to force it to happen. Just do the thing that you've been avoiding, the thing that's weighing you down, the thing that's bugging you. If your house is full of stuff that needs to be sold, donated, or dumped, this is your sign. Start one room at a time. Don't do more than one room at a time. What is something you've been putting off that would create space in your mental load or in your energetic body? What would feel good if it was a clean slate, a refresh? It could be in your life, your work, your business, your relationship. Just pick one thing and do it. Because what I've learned is we don't need a move, a crisis, or a plot twist to give ourselves permission to upgrade to the life you already have. And if you have been holding contradictory emotions right now, like we have, like relief and grief, excitement and loss, you're not confused. Let me tell you, you are human, and just let all the feelings be felt. I am still in this. As I said, the painters are literally like rolling the walls outside where I'm recording. Life is still lifing. I'm happy to report 3 kids are all healthy and back at school today. Yes. Jules is still away for work. There is a lot going on, but I'm not gripping it anymore. And that feels like the whole point. There's this incredible Peter Crone quote that has been buzzing around in my mind this whole time. And he says, life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you are not free. And when I look back at the last 2 months through that lens, it all makes sense. The urgency spiral that revealed I wasn't free from my not enough time story. The need I had to try and control Jules's response, that he wasn't being urgent enough. That revealed I wasn't free from needing others to match my energy and my intensity. The clutter and the house projects that we had been dancing around or avoiding for 8 years, that revealed I wasn't free from the weight of inaction or just like taking the lead and getting stuff done. And the gripping around the listing deadline, that one. That revealed where I wasn't free from the survival pattern, the pressure and intensity, how things get done. And this is a big one because I have always been so good when it's like last minute. And this is a really huge one for me to work on going forward. So life did not present us with a cross-country move. It presented us with a cross-country move that did not happen. And that was actually even more powerful because it showed me exactly where I was stuck and then put me right back in the same life with the chance to show up differently, to be responsible for who I was being. And that is what I'm doing right now. Thank you, as always, for being here. If this resonated, please share it with a friend, someone that needs to hear that expansion doesn't always look like one big dramatic leap. Sometimes it looks like seeing what's already in front of you, but with completely new eyes. I'll see you all on the next episode of Limitless. Thank you for tuning in to Limitless. If you enjoyed today's episode and love hearing the stories of courageous cycle breakers, I'd be grateful if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your feedback not only helps others discover the show, but it also amplifies our mission to unlock emotional freedom and true potential. Every review makes a difference in helping more people embrace their limitless life.